Welcome back to Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Sam's Moving and Storage, located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. But we're not in BC today. We are in Nashville, Tennessee at the ATA Moving and Storage Conference 2025, and we are lucky to have some of the board members.
I'm moving into the vice chair role. In 2 years, I'll be the chair of ATMSC. So right now I'm the vice. Yeah. So, and I'm representing independents. So the really interesting thing about ATMSC, it spawned off from AMSA. It's basically AMSA's evolution, right? And one of the frustration for independents, I'm an independent. I don't belong to a van line. You know, we operate on our own. We catch what we kill. And one of the big complaints at AMSA was that independents didn't have representation. Essentially, the van lines ran it, right? So when ATMSC formed, I helped write the bylaws, and we have guaranteed representation. So one of the three officers, where we have chair, vice chair, second vice chair, and you rotate up, is always an independent. So I'm currently representing independents in the leadership. You know, when I'm gone, somebody else is going to step up. Maybe one of these fine gentlemen.
Are we having a vote today? No, I'm joking.
I think we should.
I think you did a fantastic job, and thank you so much for leading the panel yesterday in that dueling battle with the four moving company owners. You had Steven. I don't even know why you let this guy in the back on the panel, but that's fine. And Brian sitting there, so it's great. We also have some other guests sitting here, and we're super happy to see. We have Derrick that sits on the board as well, too. We got Brian, and we have Jason. Now, Jason, I'm going to lean it right over to you. We did a podcast yesterday. I know it was the hush hush, but can we now tell everybody what happened today at the lunch?
We are 2025's ATA MSC Independent Mover of the Year.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
I know him.
You know, to me, when I first went, this started at AMSA. So when I first went, I want to say 9 years ago. When did you win?
2019.
So around 20. Who won? Was Abel 2017 or something like that?
Abel won it one
So
year.
that was the first time. I had no idea what this award was, and to me, it was a goal that we always wanted. And I still don't think we ever tried to get it until maybe 2020 or something like that. And to me, it's a big deal, right? It's a big deal because it's showing what you're doing as an independent mover. You're doing this on your own, but it also shows you the power of networking, meeting like-minded movers, meeting all these guys that I met 8, 9, 10 years ago, learning from them, implementing it, and doing all this stuff. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Well, I love it because you then also have this peer group that is going to be able to praise one another when you get these amazing milestones as well, too, right? So
yeah.
To win it this year, I mean, in 2019, I think, Derrick, you turned yours into a necklace that you sport around just to make sure that everybody is reminded that you won it in 2019.
That's right. I had to show it off. I had to let everybody know who was the winner that year, right?
Show the tattoo.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that. Indecent exposure is what it would be. No, we were very proud to win it, and we did want to show it off to everybody. We worked very hard to win that award, It wasn't just doing things to win the award. It was doing things to be the highest quality company that we could be. And that in turn led to us winning the award, and we're very proud to be a past winner of that. Very proud of you guys for winning it this year.
I'm going to say what I like about the award is the meaning behind it, right? So it's not about what you're selling. It's not about what you're doing. Let me say it this way. What you're doing for the business of moving and storage and what you're doing for your employees and community, right? So this award is not based on, you guys sold 800 jobs, right? Part of the powerful part of what we did the past few years that a lot of movers are doing is we gave guaranteed hours to our guys when we didn't have enough hours to give in the winter the past 3 years.
Jason, tell them about some of the criteria. What are they judging you on? I can help you.
Well, it's community service, right? It's how you're using innovation to move forward in the moving and the storage industry.
Innovation in the industry, yep.
Well, let's break those all down. What was something that Moyer and Sons did to earn that part of it?
Well, we do community service. We once a week we go down to the food drive and we bring food to a high school and feed the whole high school. We do Alzheimer's walk. There's a place in DC for DASH. It's the District Alliance of Safe Housing for women that have been in terrible situations. So we do moves for them. Montgomery County Coalition of Homeless. So they have shelters, and they try to get them in place in apartments, and then we'll do free moves and put them into those apartments.
I love that.
With all the furniture.
Really cool.
Yeah, technology. I mean, innovation. I think a lot of us are doing the same things, as far as innovations occurs for safety, right? We're all kind of on that same boat, doing the same things that way. So I think
We're all trying to get away from paper.
correct.
Industry image was another one, which kind of ties to the community stuff, right?
Yeah, and there's one part of that's also being like just saying yes to things. I'm on boards now that I never. If you asked me 20 years ago, I'm like, I'm not getting on a board. I'm not going to be a committee member, right? But naturally, it just kind of progresses, and you change and you evolve as a human being. And we saw the importance of doing that, so we have a voice, just like he said, with independent movers and pushing it forward.
I love that.
So-
Was that the main? Those are the main criteria points.
There's 6 questions. One of them is about what you do for your employees, right? How you take care of them in a non-traditional way. Do you remember what your answer was on that?
Well, that was guaranteeing hours. It's all the benefits that we give. We give, even with the insurance, they get a card that has a prepaid amount, a loaded amount each year. That thing's getting loaded up each year. So it's not just correct. So they're not just coming out of pocket for health outside of what they're paying for.
There's one more question about how you are kind of doing unique things from a sales side, and I believe you had a lot about the senior moves, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Sorry, not taking your job.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Well, you know the question.
You
See,
just
that's the question.
did enough of moderating yesterday. No, I'm sure.
I don't remember the questions, Bart. No. So on the senior side of things, we started a senior move management division in our company 5 years ago with 3 employees, and within 5 years, I went from 3 to 77.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
So it's been a huge thing in our area.
What's the secret sauce to that?
Finding the right person to run it. And also, like, we have the greatest moving company backing it, right? But that's a whole different world of what you're dealing with and navigating. So for us, it was finding the right fit, the right woman to run that company, and she has killed it.
Great news at Department.
Being found on the second page of Google is literally like having a billboard in the middle of the desert. Yo mama ain't gonna see it. No one's gonna see it. You're on the second page of Google. No one's gonna call. No one's gonna book. Here is the deal. If your business is not ranking on the top of Google, that means your competitors are going to be stealing your customers every single day. So at Rotate Digital, we don't play any guessing games. We use data-driven SEO strategies to make sure Google finds you first so that these Google searches turn into your customers, not your competitors' customers. How do we do it? We do it through AI-driven keyword optimization, exclusive blog networks, backlinking strategies, and honestly, the secret stuff, the proprietary lead attribution software. So what do you get as a result? You get not only good marketing, but now you get clarity into what is bringing you more revenue. So if that's something you want to do, you want to make sure your leads find you and not your competition, go ahead and go to rotatedigital.com, schedule a call, and we'll help you take your business to the top of Google.
Moving companies, referrals are the best leads, right? But communicating with customers, tracking progress, managing payouts, it's just overwhelming. That's why at Snowball, we do it all for you. And we're really good at it. In fact, in just a few months, the Snowball platform helped JK Moving generate over $200K in new revenue. We even helped New City Moving book 30 moves in a single month. If you have happy customers, we can get you referrals. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get the first 2 months on us.
Correct.
That's amazing.
She has killed it.
Now, because you all sit on the board, what made you, other than peer pressure, want to be sitting on the board for this group and to help this independent and van line, association?
I'm here. I want to say that too. These two guys over here, they found me to come here and got me involved in this, and Mark. So I want to give a shout out to that side.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
Brian,
it's
Derrick,
not
thank
just
you.
the board, it's the committees that we're involved with, right? The Independent Movers Committee, that we made a big push together to really get people to show up, to get more people involved. The association, being involved with the association is about serving, right? And we all know about serving because we're in business to not only serve our customers, but to serve our employees. We want to serve our employees first. That's who we serve, so our employees can then serve our customers. Being a part of the association is giving back to the industry and serving the industry as a whole. And so us coming together as a committee, as the Independent Movers Committee, and building that wanting to make it better, wanting to get more people involved, to grow it, to grow this what we hold every year, have more people together. It's all about service. I really feel that way. Yeah.
And kind of a testimony to the power of that independent mover of the year. I was years ago when he got the award. I was at that show, and I remember I didn't know who Derrick was, and I wanted to know, like, what, and everything hearing about what he's about and everything. I went, I could have an impact like he is. It inspired me to want to do more for my employees, wanted me to set a higher standard and expectation for our company. So I looked at guys like him, and I started making notes of, like, these are the kind of people that I want to be, like-minded people and the way their business approaches. So then I just knew Derrick, I'm following him on social media. I'm following his company and looking at all that stuff. And then when he called, because Justin called him, right? I wish Justin was here to, he couldn't be here today. So when Derrick called, it was more like, this is Derrick Potter calling. I'm like, oh, former independent mover of the year. He's a big deal. Right. And we've interacted.
a pretty face. Not just a pretty
Yeah. Gosh, he's so handsome. How could I say no? But he called, and he even didn't have to get all into the pitch about what, contributing and making the industry better. It was just like, Derrick is the kind of guy, right, that he's established his values and all that stuff. Same thing as like these guys here. And so he says, are you in to help grow this thing? And I'm thinking, yeah, I've already gained so much from the industry and from the association that, I want to be able to get back in whatever little part I can. So it's inspiring to just be around these guys who are elevating the industry. And those of us who've been in the industry less time are going, that's what I want to be like when I grow up.
Well, and there's been conversations with other moving company owners, and I look at it, especially when I look around and see those that I've met at conferences, especially where I look at someone like Steven, there's Matt Young, the list can go on, Eric Works, where this friendship is a little bit different than those that you grew up with, right? You have your high school friends, you have your buddies that you go watch a hockey game or basketball game with. They're all in these different industries, and there's just, the alignment is not 100% there than those that are in the same industry that we're at, ones that we can look up to, ones that can work to you. And then it's like this striving point, right? This is who I want to be with. This is like, what are they doing? I want to learn from this group, so I'm not reinventing the wheel and making it possible. But you're not going to get that sitting at home. You're not going to get that sitting behind a desk. You're going to get that attending conferences like this and getting out of your, out of that bubble, right, and step outside and start networking, start meeting. How you were like, you looked at Derrick going, I really want to, meet this fellow. I admire him. He's won the award. I'm going to start following him. And now you've grown into a friendship. You have this like mentor group. I mean, it's amazing when you can attend a conference and then just get out there and network. Go shake some hands.
Well, the association
and
is,
sit down and have a couple.
it's like anything, right? You get out what you put in,
100%.
right? So you can show up, and sit in a corner if you want and go, oh, this place sucks, right? Or you go and introduce, everybody's here because you want to meet somebody. You want to talk to somebody. You want to engage. You want to get, you got to get something and you got to give something. And so it's, everybody that goes to these conferences is there with that mindset, I think, right? Why else would you come?
It's funny. I never met Steven until yesterday, but I already feel like we had like a stepbrothers moment. He messaged me on Facebook. He's like, hold on, so you're a Washington Commanders fan and you're in moving?
You're my
I was
guy.
like, yeah, we're kindred spirits here.
Right.
And we both got years.
It was a good year for that. We had a really good year for that. So that's that. I got a question for you. So besides just the conference, besides just what if somebody missed this time of year, how do we join ATA? Right? How do we join this MSC group for the independents out there? And what do we get for the money? What is all that? Where's the money going? Is there a team here that's working for us? How does the lobbying work? What's going on in Washington? So I wanted to set you up there.
That's a good setup because
My question.
I mean, the value proposition of ATMSC is unique, right? I mean, we're part of ATA. ATA is one of the largest lobbying agencies in the United States. I mean, the budget is more than the NRA that they spend on lobbying. We have a Capitol Hill House with, I don't know, 20 lobbyists in it. And so our kind of keynote event is our call in Washington in September. We had over 100 movers at the last call in Washington, where we go in and we split up into groups and go into our representatives, our elected representatives or congressmen, and meet with them and talk about the issues that matter to us. Right now, not all independents do military, some do. That's a big deal for us. We have the moving tax deduction, which, tax law is changing right now as we speak. I'll tell you this, I think that there's a lot of, like, when it comes to association and groups, right? Like you and Eric were on the Moving Owners United group, right? And I probably joined that thing, I don't know, 6 years ago when you guys started. I don't post a lot, but I read a lot, and there's a lot of great contact there. There's the Moving Titans. There's a lot of these different groups that are forming. This is kind of the more traditional group, like the old school group, right? And I think it behooves us to kind of bring that new energy and bring it into this, because we've got the vehicle, right? Like we've got.
Brian and I were actually at Moving Titans last year, and we said, I love the energy of that 2 days. It's nonstop. Now, this is different. I don't think you're going to get that same kind of let's just go 100% full tilt for 2 whole days.
DJ Steve?
Right?
Have a DJ.
We don't have a DJ Steve. But the point is, if we get all of these minds in, right, now we're pushing the industry the way we think it needs to be pushed forward. Right?
Yes.
I'm gonna say we're like all the middle children, right? I'm 45 years old, but you got a lot of these guys that are 30, 25 that are killing it, right? They're smaller companies, but they're killing it.
Absolutely.
And so you got to learn from the young. You got to learn from the guys that did it before us. What did they do good that I want to follow? And what do I want to change about what they did that I think we could do better?
But how you bring them together so that
And that's what
can happen.
That's what we want to do with this indie group. We want everybody to come in to be part of this bubble, so we have a say on how we're pushing our industry forward for what's going to benefit us and those guys.
Well, it's great because
It's all in numbers.
Let me just
Numbers
add
separate voice.
something to this. And what I think this association is so special is because the advocacy part of it. And going to Washington, Texas Trucking was the first group to visit for ATA last month in February, and I was part of that. And 3 out of the first 4 meetings in Capitol Hill were with members, and they came out of session to meet with us. So getting in front of them with the issues that we're pushing is extremely important. Now we have all these, there's all these side conferences that are all about how to build your business, how to get a better business. What we're more involved in here is the industry as well as just your business. It's given back to the industry. There's people on this Facebook group that are complaining about insurance costs, what it costs. Well, what you have to do is you have to go to Washington and make tort reform change. And that's what it takes.
True.
And that's why it's getting important moving company owners more involved in this association to make the change. Not just making your company better and learning how to get better as a company, but the industry and doing things for the industry and serving the industry as a whole. That's very important.
I like that.
And from a cost perspective, because I know you asked that, it's not that expensive for independent. I basically have to negotiate the rate for independents, and we're like $1,250 annually. I know it's a lot of money. It is for an independent, small independent, but the van lines are paying $500,000 or more each. So we negotiated a pretty good deal for us. And we hope to keep it that way, but that's on our executive committee, just like our officers, there's the officers, the 3 officers, the executive committee, and then the board, and there's that balance between agents, independents, and van lines, and there's constantly those struggles. Now the bigger group we are, there's about 450 right now independents that are members of ATA MSC. Like, the bigger we get, the more like negotiating power I had at the table, right?
That's what I learned. That's key.
Yeah. So if I'm talking to if I'm speaking for 800 companies or 1,000 or 1,200,
You're way more powerful on that.
so that's why we need everybody. We're in Nashville again next year. Steven knows the lay of the land here. I think, what are you going to have, like some big mover bash or something you were saying?
Hey, we'll have a big mover bash. I'll do the welcoming if I'm invited. I'll welcome
Yeah,
everybody.
of course
to
you're
Tennessee
welcome.
next
Of course you're welcome.
Are you a mover looking to make an impact? Discover Moving Letters AI and join the ML Plus Club today. Elevate your customer engagement with the personal touch of handwritten letters.
If you want to take your company to that next level, it's the only way to subscribe. If you're doing anything but Moving Letters AI, you need to get on it. So it's going to take your business to that next level. You're going to see an increase in that revenue. Let's go.
I highly recommend using this company. They're amazing to work with. They even send you an email on how much work they're producing for you.
Don't miss out. Join the revolution and start making moves that matter.
Put a golden damn ticket in there with Moving Letters AI.
Hi, I'm Mark Hirschi with Salmon's Moving and Storage. Today, I want to talk about Tighten Up training. Why? Because this is Netflix grade quality training. It's not those old videos and VHSs that you got hiding in your office somewhere. It's online, it's easy to use, they're short videos, but they get to the point. My new employees, these guys run through these training programs, there's tests at the end, and they're coming out going, oh, I'm ready to rock. So if you haven't checked out Tighten Up training yet, get a demo done, get on board. Guess what else is there? Online portals for my sales staff. Can you believe it? These guys can learn how to overcome objections and book more leads today. So what are you waiting for? Go check out Tighten Up training today.
Well, I love the explanation. It's really helpful for those that are watching and listening to have a better understanding of what it stands for, because there are those conferences, right? And I think Derrick nailed it right in the head. You go to these conferences because I really want to focus on sales. I want to learn how to build my culture. I want to make sure that my social media is on point. But when it comes down to lobbying for insurance, the tariff pricings for the industry, you're not going to learn it and understand it and actually be part of that change if you're not belonging to this group. There has been the backlash, and we get it in Canada too, with the Canadian Association of Movers, and I sit on the board there, where I don't really want to go. It's a van line party. It's an old boys club. The speakers are dry. It's not for me. I'm really gonna get nothing out of it. There's no entertainment on there. I don't have a DJ Steve, busting out the tunes. So what are some of the changes? Obviously, shout out to Brian for getting me down here, and we have a podcast this time around. We're sitting down, we're networking, we're talking. There's been much more excitement on the panels, I've noticed this year. What can those that are watching and listening and saying, man, I want to get involved. I love the fact it's going to be in Nashville next year. What are some of the changes that you guys are looking to improve on for next year?
We want to hear their voices. We want to hear their ideas. What do they want us to do? What do they want us to bring to the table, right? We can start talking now about what we want to do next year, but if nobody's coming and joining and sharing their voice, then it's going to stay, there's only so much the same 10 people can think about, right? I'm not a DJ, so I'm not going to DJ and entertain you, right?
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, but it's all about bringing their voices to the table. Join the committees. Share what you want to see. Share what you want to do.
Is there a place or a platform that someone can say, I'd really love these topics? Is there?
Absolutely.
Where can they find that?
Absolutely.
Oded's email.
No, but the Independent Movers Committee, the first whole day of the conference was the sessions that we came up with. Stephen, you were part of this. We had this idea of dueling.
I was part of one too.
The dueling perspectives was the best session I probably attended of any conference that I've ever been. But I'm not blowing smoke. It was phenomenal.
We set up on a Teams call, and we started talking about it. Hey, what are we going to do? We want to do this. We want to do that. We workshopped it, right? So listen, to Jason's point, you can sit back and complain and criticize, right, and just not participate. But if you want to change, there's the opportunity to affect change here. You can become part of something. You could see your vision come to light. If you have a great idea for a session, let's hear it.
But we have started to make changes, and this year has started that. The more independent heavy here, the more events geared toward independence. The after hours party that was rocking. We turned up the music last night. We partied late. It was a great time.
We took over the pool area.
That's right. We had some great speakers.
It was a revolution.
The sessions were not dry. The sessions were good. While we do talk about, numbers and the housing market, things like that's stuff that we as owners need to know. There were no dry sessions. The AI session was fantastic. All of the independent sessions
was great.
The Moyer session was great. You've got to
marketing session,
contracts and everything else. So we're making changes. The venue having the vendors all in a right tight spot that we can all be with them. That's another change that we're making.
We're going to make more space for them, right?
AMSA 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been invited to say my unorthodox things in the way style that I manage my moving company.
Right.
And y'all have changed that with Mark and I being here, Eric being here.
That's right.
We are I've never had an affiliation with any van line or anything like that. I am as independent as they come.
Right.
And, I think that's a testament to what y'all are trying to do. Inviting me, shout out to Justin too.
Yeah.
But inviting me and Mark and getting us involved and really being this true independent voice and having that following, I think is already stepping in that right.
But the great thing is that we can be here with the van lines as well and
Yes,
have great
that's where it's
relationships with those van line people, right? We're not an agent. We've never been an agent, and we're not going to be an agent. But we have a great interline agreement with National Van Lines. I sit with their table all the time. They're always in my office. We can do work together, but I'm not an agent.
Yep.
So it's great being with the van lines as well. So it's a good mix here. It really
that
is.
dynamic as
It's a
Being
great
as
dynamic.
independent
It
as I
really
can
is.
be and not talking to van lines and any of you guys, right? For a number of years, I'm walking away here with at least $750,000 of revenue this year. I sat down at a table with this gentleman and learned a lot about some DoD work.
DOD, corporate relocation, a lot of stuff, the traditional, we all started, at least most independents start with COD, and it's usually local, right?
Yeah.
And then like a couple years later, we'll start doing the long distance, right? And then we find out about a national account, and then military, GSA, DOS, O&I. It goes on and on and on and on. And I think there's a level of sophistication here with certain companies that are kind of at a different development stage than you are, right? They're like 20 years into it as opposed to being maybe 3, that maybe can accelerate you getting to that point, right? They can teach you a lot of the things that they kind of cut their teeth on.
That nervousness of wanting to go into, that logistics part of things or into government, not knowing where to turn to. They're not part of a van line to get that education. They're going to get it from conferences like this.
I had several conversations, and it was really interesting, the disparity. There was the folks that were here that have only done DoD stuff, and they were here to connect with other people about how to get into the COD market, right?
I saw that
and
too.
I couldn't believe it. And I was like, wow, because everybody that I've ever met here goes the other way, right? They're here, they're in COD, and they want to know. So either one, there's a place here, right? There's a place to learn, there's a place to connect, and it's when you talk about expanding, like what we talked about diversification, right? We had a whole thing about that. That's huge when you can come here, and then this is where it's at. It doesn't get more diverse than all in van lines, all in corporate, all in DoD stuff, or completely independent, cash, local, trying to expand into long distance. And what are the rules and regulations? There's more than 1 or 2 rules or regulations you got to know before you go into LD and all that kind of stuff. So it's here, and the network is just ready to share. It's been really, really impactful.
You mentioned some discounts earlier too that I didn't know about.
Well, that's thanks to Oded, right? The bigger our group is,
True.
right, the better negotiating power you have to take things like.
Can you share some of those discounts?
The membership.
Yeah, so you're talking about the affinity program. Essentially, we engage with vendors like Penske, and we negotiate a association NRA, National Rate Agreement, right? Which is usually preferable to what you'd be able to negotiate only for your own company. And once you become a member of ATMSC, you can utilize that. So for a very, very long time under AMSA, we had a great, with Penske particularly, NRA that I use. We recently negotiated one with Ryder. I mean, these are the type of things when you get people involved with, right?
Yeah, and the more that you have, the more
Buying
negotiating
power
you have.
No, but I'll give you a failure story because I'm not all about successes. You learn from failures,
We're
right?
talking about success.
You know,
come on. What's
I
Wrong podcast.
I brought Ryder in and to compete against Penske, and they got us a great NRA. This is about 2 years ago, national rate agreement that everybody at ATMC could utilize. And we didn't have enough independence. We weren't really able to get the word out enough. About, a year and a half later, they looked at it, they're like, well, you've been able to drive very little money through this program. We're not going to renew it. So, that's where participation is so important. Like, if we build it and then they don't come, then what's the point of building it? So, I mean, I think that's, especially, like I said, you and Eric, and there's all these different communities, and we just need to intersect them and bring them together.
Yeah, I love that.
Yesterday you were talking about, are you going to work with your competitors in your market? And the great thing about it, the core of everything that we're doing is networking, right? Yeah. So now I can call somebody in Memphis, Boston, well, maybe not, you're in my backyard now, but Boston, West Cleveland, and all of Texas almost, right? Every major city almost, right? So
now you have something coming up to Canada.
And I got something up on the west side of Canada, right? So I have all these people that you meet that you can bounce ideas off, and you don't have to worry about it in your backyard. Right? So if you're looking at dominating, and that's your thing, you have all these other people now to bounce off the ideas off of outside of people that you might network in your own state.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the whole point of it all, and to push all this forward.
Hi everyone, it's your favorite mover, Austin Yarbrough, and welcome to my school. The school is named Moving Army because it's inspired by Andy Elliott's team, and we've got some amazing changes coming for the moving industry, and I can't wait to work with you. In this school, we will be doing a 100-day fitness challenge. So what this means is we are going to be working out for 45 minutes minimum physical activity for 100 straight days. Stay tuned for more information and let's get moving.
This is great. I mean, we could probably keep going on with questions. Steven, you got some final thoughts?
I just want to say thank you guys. As someone in the moving industry who is enjoying giving back in this industry that I love, that I wouldn't be where I am today without something like this. Thank you. I'm looking forward to joining the fight for our industry with you guys, and I appreciate y'all holding it down and doing this for us and not letting that go away with AMSA and finding this backing for us with ATA. So I'm going to go long-winded on it, but I'm very, very thankful for you guys and what you're doing. And I look forward to helping in any way I can.
And I want to back Steven on that as well too. I just want to say thank you to letting this little Canadian in to this group. I really appreciate. I mean, I love Americans. Everybody's so kind and nice, especially when they come down south. It's always, to me, that relationship is so strong to have. But it's also highly appreciated. And thank you, Brian, also for the phone call going, Mark, we got to get you down. You got to get this podcast set up here. And you know what? We also, for all those that are watching and listening, Movified did a collab with Move for Hunger. And if you haven't heard about Move for Hunger, please go check them out, especially if you have a moving company as well, too. To me, it's one of the easiest ways to give back to the communities around you, but also help feed those families that have nothing on their plates. And we did a collab with these t-shirts. You see Steven wearing it, myself. I think all the gentlemen have already grabbed a shirt. It was by donation, but we were able to feed over 1,000 families in less than 2 days, just with everybody donating and getting a free t-shirt out of it. So we work together, right? We're cohesive in sharing the move jobs and helping each other out with ideas, but also in the communities that we live in. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today on Movified. Thank you, Jason, Oded, Brian, and Derrick for sitting with us. And of course, thank you, Steven.
Who run it?
Movified running. ATA.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. And for all those that are listening, stay Movified.